Hey, it's Big T. Today I am going to tie a fly I call the Timex. It is basically a spin-off of a fly called the Rolex, which is a little more fancy. What I've got here is a number 10 wide gap jig hook. That's a new hook I've got. I like it a lot. It's not the be-all, end-all of jig hooks, but for the right flies, right applications, I love it. Little shorter shank, so it's not great for every single fly I tie, but I like it on this one. 4mm gold bead. That's a color that I'll have in stock soon, about a week from now. And then what I've done right here, this glob, is just a hand-mixed grouping of pearl, gold, holographic silver, and ice dub copper. All ice dubbings. So this is a gaudy, flashy fly. Works well in stained waters, particularly low light conditions, or for recently stocked fish, kind of anytime. I'm going to start with a 140 denier red thread on this. We can get away with a little thicker thread, and I have it sitting here, so why not? And what I'm going to do is simply, I've taken a pinch of each of those, and you can mix it up based on what you want. The word toning it down with this fly is kind of an oxymoron in a way, but the bottom line is you can tone it down a little bit by going with more of the copper color and less of the silver and pearl. And I'm going to take a little grouping of this, pinch of that, and I'm going to go ahead and just tie it down at the end of the hook. Once I've done that, I'm going to wrap this backwards. So I've tied it in basically half, at the halfway mark, wrap it backwards, and that's going to form somewhat of a tail for us. You can pluck that out, pinch it out. You really don't want those fibers to come out uniform. It's better if they come out at different lengths, in my opinion. And then get that bead situated. Then I'm going to wrap back and put together a dubbing loop. For those of you who split your thread, which I could do also, I'm going to show you real quick how I could do that, and then we'll do a loop for those of you who don't. Taking my bodkin, and I may not be able to do this without, yeah, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and get that thread opened up in half. And so once I've done that, I can actually insert materials in that. If you're having trouble getting that split, twist your bobbin counterclockwise and let that roll. That'll flatten that thread out. The other way we can put this in is through a dubbing loop. I've got my tool here. It's got remnants of a former loop on it. This won't be a very long loop because we don't need to put a ton of stuff in there. Then I just come up with that loop and tie the thread back on top of it to secure it. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to start putting in sparsely some of this dubbing, and I want it to stick out both sides of the thread. Usually 3 or 4 pinches of this in here will work. Once I've got that in, I'll go ahead and twist this loop up. And we'll twist that fairly tight, but you don't have to hammer it down too much. You just want to make sure those fibers are getting trapped in there. So at this point on the fly, you can either hand wrap that dubbing loop around the shank, or I'm going to use my rotary feature. And obviously I put way too big of a dubbing loop in for this, but that's okay. Go around one more time. Some of that inevitably will come out. And we'll brush it out and get rid of the excess. Wrap a couple times before it, a couple times in front of it, and then I'm going to trim this excess. And we'll use that on another fly. And we'll pull that back. And I want to create a hot spot up here with this red thread. Before I come in with a little bit of zap-a-gap on that thread. Wrap a couple times and then go to the whip finish. Once we've done that and trimmed off the thread, you can get a dubbing brush. This is something I made. It's got a piece of Velcro on the back of it. It's actually, I think, a gun cleaning tool. And we'll just brush that out. Get rid of the excess. Pinch off anything that looks like it's way too long. It's a super easy, small micro streamer. Jig it if you're Euro nymphing. Strip it, twitch the rod tip, but that let a fly catch some fish. Caught some really big fish with that fly as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, comment, like, and visit my store for these materials and more.